Yorushka Hebi. We are continuing our track by track listen through to the second person album with the song. Where is it? Scroll down. There we are. We're on track 15. Oh my word, Hebi. And yeah, I'm personally really excited about this one because we just come off the back of Aporia, which I have to say is, well, if that doesn't turn out to be my favourite song on this album, then I'm going to be very impressed with something coming up because I really loved that song. I thought that was brilliant. The more I think about it subsequently, I just really enjoyed that song. I would definitely come back to that one. And you know, it was great. But of course, when you set the bar that high now, it means I kind of have to set my expectations. I can't expect the next song to be as good as that was. I can hope, but not expect. Anyway, Hebi, so Hebi is in hiragana, so I'm assuming that's the Japanese word is in snake. And yeah, I do not know what to expect from this. I know it's got a music video as well, which means that just like with Aporia, they felt it was strong enough to present to the world with a full visual representation. So that's all I really know about it. But I will say, yeah, I feel like the album has had some interesting twists and turns so far, but we just come off something really strong. So no idea, but oh man, I hope it's even half as good as the song we just had. I'll be very happy. Let's go. Nabuna likes those little sharp piano notes. Like that sort of urgency to the piano there. And then resolve. That's nice. I loving how the vocals are going up, the guitars walking down, and the pianos stabbing. Layers of juxtaposition. Kind of gives it this sort of like beautiful tension. And it works well with this kind of swing rhythm. Love when the bassist gets funky. Ooh, that was nice. Very reverby sounds around the back there. Again, that layering thing, just when the layers come together in these songs. That's very bright toms. So sharp and funky. Kind of got that ringing. Back there. That was the first bit where the piano sounded chilled for a while. I like this one. I like this one. Wow, this album is getting a bit of a strong second streak towards the latter half, isn't it? Do you know what? I I'm very pleased with this. Okay, so another great song on this album. And the interesting thing is that a lot of the compliments I would give to this, as I'm finding to be a repeating theme on this album, are ones that, again, you've heard the things I said before. Love the tone, love the start of the recording, love how sort of close and real everything sounds instrumentally. I would say, though, that this song, although not quite hitting the heights of how I felt about Aporia, this does have some cool things in it that really made it stand out for me. Now, first things first, I will say that this was one of those songs that, again, translated the clever technical stuff in the writing that you get from Yorushka and turns it into something which is definitely an emotional payoff. Because after all, music has to be a mixture of using interesting and clever techniques to make songs interesting, to give them qualities that make each song unique and make songs re-listenable and make songs stand out, but it all has to serve that final other side, which is it's got to have some kind of emotional impact, whether it be happy, sad, angry, nostalgic, whatever it is. There's got to be that feeling. And for me, this was a song that really did manage to grab this sort of sense of tension and this sense of a feeling of an emotional uncomfortableness, but still one that's interesting. It feels like the song's tense, it's on edge. I noticed this was a little bit the case in the lyrics as well, as usual. I pick up some of the lyrics, but I try not to talk too much about the lyrics because there's often repeat themes, and I don't quite get all the nostalgia. I don't quite get all of the nuances on first listen. I would say, though, that here definitely the whole feeling of the song was this kind of slight discomfort, and that was primarily underpinned by just this piano that ran throughout the entire thing, just kind of doing this slightly off-key, kind of everything slightly off and then resolved, and it would just do that throughout. And it was interesting because the funny thing is using that kind of repeated, stabbing piano line, in a weird way, almost, I know this is going to be an example people aren't going to like, but it almost reminds you of when that was the signature sound of Dr. Dre doing rap songs back in the day, kind of a California love kind of quality to it. But of course, that's just simply how it works in keeping a song kind of bouncy. It kind of stabs inside the rhythm of the song and gives you this kind of very punctuated feeling. And the piano is a great instrument for that. But here, by making it mostly delivering this slightly off-key dissonant chord and then resolving it, what it does is it manages to keep a sort of bouncy funkiness to this song, which itself is in a sort of nice swing 3/4 rhythm. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1. It keeps that going, but at the same time keeps this underlying sense of tension. Because, as I say, the majority of chords, the majority of stabs coming out of that piano are dissonant. They're not. They're sitting not in a comfortable harmony to the rest of the song. Most of the time it's doing this chord a lot more than it's doing this chord. So you spend a lot more time in this tense place than you do in the relaxed place. And that underpins the whole song. Now, I noticed that obviously that phrase comes and goes. It's in most of the song, but it comes and goes. And there was one bit in particular where I noticed that it sort of sipped into the background and became so echoey that I couldn't quite tell whether it was the guitar, if it had just kind of molded into the guitar or not. And it was interesting that it was put in this place where it was ever present, but it reminded me a lot of the sort of subliminal sound design that you use in movies, where often parts of the soundtrack and various sounds can be put in such a way that they're designed to kind of slip out of your notice and yet be kind of presently, subconsciously audible at all times. And that was definitely the vibe I got from how that piano was used. It was interesting that for something that's constantly stabbing and constantly sort of hitting away at the same chord for the majority of the song, it doesn't get too irritating, but it does mean that the song has this kind of sense of weight to it. It feels quite weighty, it feels quite heavy throughout. And so it's a sort of song that I don't think you would listen to repeatedly that easily. But that almost feels like it's the purpose. It feels like it's supposed to be an emotionally weighty song. And this is particularly interesting because the reason I'm talking so much about this piano is because this piano sits within a song that, for the majority of its other qualities, is pretty much a very standard, by the standards of this album, I should say, very much a standard sounding song that fits a lot of the other qualities that other songs on this album has. Sort of a slightly dancing, walking guitar. The bass line's kind of cool in this as well, but again, it's sort of dancing and walking at its own pace. And the vocals, Beautiful as always, but again, of a very similar pressure, of a very similar sort of style to what we hear on most of the other songs on this album. So it felt like the entire song was this kind of nice, simply progressing song, very much in keeping with the things that we like about the rest of Second Person thus far, but underpinned with this one element that was thrown in there to create a sense of tension. Now, the other thing I will also give this song is that it definitely had a sense of progression, and that was something that I very much pointed towards being a quality of Aporia. And I've said about several of the songs on this album, sorry, I can't remember exactly which ones are which, because a lot of them were very interesting during this phase where none of them have music videos. I'm trying to remember which one's which. I will go back and check these all retrospectively once we finish the track by track listen through. But there seems to be a balance between some of the songs in this album seem to just kind of be that they flow, they move along, but they're more just kind of like a jam. I mean, Cremation was the most recent example of a song that really felt like it was more like a jam. Yes, it had verses and choruses, but it wasn't so much directing in a certain direction as it was just kind of keeping this particular funk, this particular groove going, and just adding a little bit of variation at points. And then you have some songs like Aporio where they definitely feel like they've got a direction, where they're building towards an end, where it's like each time the chorus comes, it's like, here's the dramatic bit, and then we're going to bring it back, and then we're going to punch forward again, and you really feel like the emotional weight shifting, and the sense of more scale and presence during the chorus. Like, oh, that's where the weight of the song becomes more and becomes less. And I talk about weight, but that's how I felt with Heavy. You know, Heavy definitely felt like a song where it was good at sort of increasing the pressure in the choruses and relaxing it off. Now, I will say, I often talk about the videos. The video was very beautiful from what I saw, but I've got to be honest, I kind of tuned out of it. It was almost like a visualizer. You know, remember those old Windows Media visualizers from back in the day? I don't know if anyone has that anymore. That always seemed like that was going to be the future, but I think we all knew that we weren't just going to be staring at squiggly images every time a song came on for the rest of the rest of time. We now just look at the album covers usually, but this kind of felt like one of those visualizers from back in the day. It was just kind of like pretty images happening, very pretty, but it, rather than grabbing my attention, it more sort of soothed and switched off my attention so that I could relax my eyes and focus on the music. So it worked in that sense, I guess. But it was interesting because my attention was obviously very drawn to just sort of focusing on the narrative of the music, and the music felt like, whereas the video kind of relaxed my eyes, the song definitely felt like it was taking me on a journey and building up towards an end as it did. It had those nice little breakdowns, it had those little moments where it felt like, you know, just it sort of backed off a little bit. We had that one part where the piano sort of walked down and stopped doing the stabbing chords for a minute. Just had a nice little stop, and then the chorus comes in. There was these little breaks and things that allowed the song to feel like it was progressing. I really enjoyed this. Again, I've set my high watermark already, but this was definitely one of the songs that, for me, ranking songs at this point is going to be difficult before I go back and check out all the songs again, especially on an album that has so many songs. But I would say this is definitely one that felt like a really good listen to me. And thus far, I'm kind of keen on what we're getting at this point. It feels like the album's going in an interesting direction. Now, obviously, that leads us into what will be a follow-up of 3 songs that are non-music video. I already know that I've been told to check this out, Hitchcock alongside the original, because apparently the original is a very important song in the band's history. So when I get to this one, don't worry, I'll be checking out both versions together. But yeah, I have to say, this was cool. I really like this one. Thought it was interesting. I think the video, although most of their videos are designed to grab your attention, this one was a very good one for soothing your attention and allowing your eyes to give your brain and ears an opportunity to focus elsewhere. And I don't mean that as a diss to the video. It's just, yeah, it was relaxing. Anyway, song, very good, lovely. Again, a relaxing tone, but with the usual details and with an underlying sense of tension that fit into the arrangement beautifully and really left you with a definite, clear, emotional message, maybe payoff, but certainly something to remember and a reason to come back to this one. So anyway, as always, those are my thoughts. Get in the comments, tell me what you think, and until I hopefully see you very soon for the next one of these. For now, ciao, ciao.